Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday of Holy Week. So we've been meeting every morning via live stream on YouTube and Facebook, sharing some different scriptures from each day of Holy Week, things that Jesus went through. And today it's Holy Thursday. And so we're on John chapter 13. It's otherwise known as Maundy Thursday. Some of you might have heard that phrase before, and Maundy actually means command. And it's referring to Jesus' command while Jesus is with the disciples in the upper room to love one another. So today we're going to look at John chapter 13. We're looking at verses 1 through 17. It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. The evening meal was being served, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that he had wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head also." Jesus answered, "A person who has had a bath needs only to wash his feet. His whole body is clean, and you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not every one was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "But do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than the master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." So I read this version this morning. It was actually my dad's Bible from years ago, and I was doing my morning devotions. And I was really struck. I was brought to this text for my morning devotions. I think it was one of those God incidences again. But the second half of the first verse really struck me today. It said, "Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love." He now showed them the full extent of his love. And those words really struck a chord with me this morning, because I've read this text. I do a lot of reading from Bible Gateway when I'm preparing things. And none of the texts that I'd read had those exact words. And it just really stood out to me how much Jesus loved his disciples and loves all of us. And then as I thought about it, he's shown the full extent of his love by washing their feet. And I don't know about you, but is anyone disgusted by feet? Could you imagine what the disciples' feet must have been like in those days? Like, for me, I don't like to wear shoes. I hardly wear them if I don't have to. And my feet can get pretty dirty, especially in the summertime if I'm walking outside with no shoes, no socks, and they get pretty dirty. But I don't think it compares to anything of what the disciples' feet must have been like. You know, they're out walking on dirt roads, sweating, and so I'm sure the dirt is just caked to their feet. They were probably pretty dirty. And so it was the lowest servant's job to wash the disciples' feet, to wash the guests' feet. So somebody in the house would be the one to wash the feet. So there was no servants that day because they had rented the room, and so nobody decided to wash their feet. And so, what did Jesus do? Jesus did it. Nobody else decided to volunteer, but Jesus did. And I don't know about you, but I think touching somebody else's feet, it can be pretty disgusting. I don't know if I would really want to volunteer, but here's Jesus who